Who can't wait to move into a retirement community? It may surprise you, but I couldn't. Age 29, I left Silicon Valley, and I moved into a retirement home in Atlanta. I figured there was an opportunity to improve the quality of lives of older adults through innovation. And I thought there was no better place than to actually live in a community. Couldn't talk my wife into joining me, though. And I warned her of the risks. Sure enough, I was the only male and only person under 75 in my wing. The ladies loved me. Cookies, brownies, love notes streamed in, and I had a number of meals with my friend, Betty Cobb. Betty Cobb loved living in a retirement community. She loved the camaraderie. She loved having all our meals in the dining room. She loved playing bingo, and she didn't mind being called a senior. One day, I got a call from my mom. I could tell she was concerned. She was wondering what career path could possibly involve living in a retirement community. Thinking quickly on my feet, I said, Mom, I'm doing this for you. I said, I want to build a place that you'd want to move in. Feeling relieved but empowered, she said, well, good, because I don't want to live in a retirement community where it's all old people. I want to be around people of all ages. And I don't want to have all my meals in the dining room. And I don't play bingo, and don't dare call me a senior. Do you know anyone like that? So it turns out, sure, Eddie and my mom are from different generations, and they have different preferences. But it's so much more than that. We're entering a new era of longevity. They say if you're 65 and educated and healthy, odds are you're going to live past 90. That's 25 years beyond traditional retirement. But it's not just about old people. We're all living longer. They say the first person to live to 150 is alive today. It's mind-boggling. Researchers also tell us that your lifestyle is more important than your DNA. It turns out how long your parents lived is not an important indicator of how long you're going to live. And so what's more important is, do you have a lifestyle that enhances your well-being? And that's important for people at any age. And if we're blessed by these extra years of longevity, I believe we should make the most of those, not just exist and wait to die. But the problem is a lot of our institutions and ways of thinking, they haven't evolved, including housing. Let me show you. 75% of older adults live in the suburbs. And here, as you can tell, we often have older homes that weren't designed with older adults in mind. Stairs, bathrooms, kitchens, it's complicated to change. It's not, again, helpful for older adults. A lot of homes aren't energy efficient. Home maintenance is expensive. Costs are unpredictable. Not good for people on fixed income. And of course, it was all based on a car. So you had to drive with your car to Main Street or to the city, which is a hassle, and clearly as you get older. And even in the world of autonomous vehicles, that distance remains a challenge. And it's difficult and inefficient for services to come to you in this environment. And there's this sense that by staying at home, you're in control. But those of you who have been involved in the care of your parents who've lived at home, you know it's anything but that. But the biggest challenge is the fact that you're separate from people. See, the biggest challenge is one of individual isolation. The primary option we give for people today is Shady Acres. This is where Betty Cobb lived. Here, too, you're far away from the city and Main Street. And here, people often move miles away. They lose their sense of place. It doesn't feel like home. For some, it feels like they've given up control. For others, it feels like they've just given up. And here, we've created Main Street inside of Shady Acres. We have multiple dining venues. We have healthcare services. We have a lot of programming space. Things that are difficult and expensive to build, but even more costly to operate and maintain. The fact is, Shady Acres is expensive to live in. But that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is you're living just with old people. See, here you suffer from isolation as well, institutional isolation. I think we need a new way, a new vision. And for me, it lies in redesigning Main Street. See, Main Street is where we all go for different services and amenities. It's where people of all generations congregate. So instead of Shady Acres, what if we had sunny mid-rise? And here, with this option, we'd be able to avoid isolation and benefit from connection. Let me show you how. In 3 ways: location, operating model, and design. Well, with location, as in contrast to Shady Acres and single-family homes in suburbs where you're far away, here you're right where the action is. It's walkable mixed use for grown-ups. You have your grocery store, your pharmacy, your metro, retail, all sorts of shopping. And you're around people of all ages. It's truly intergenerational. It's the way things used to be. And there's a possibility for rich connections both inside your built environment and outside your built environment. See, this is an environment, a place that my mom would like to be. And in regards to operating model, whereas you're on your own if you're in a single-family home in the suburbs, or if you're paying for services that you may not want or need in Shady Acres, what if instead we had services delivered on an as-needed basis? Both lifestyle and healthcare, transportation, food and grocery delivery, healthcare. And it ties right into what's happening in our broader economy around shared services. So it's Uber for transportation. It's Amazon Fresh for food and grocery delivery. It's Honor for home care. But it's not just that, it's a mindset. See, one of the issues in Shady Acres is there's a sense that Shady Acres is in control of your life. But here, you're in charge, just like you always have been. But you have the infrastructure around you to live the life on your terms. See, in so doing, we can have housing elevate our well-being, enhance our well-being, so we have a purpose. We have a greater social connection. We have physical and financial well-being, and we're more engaged in our communities. See, this is an environment I can imagine my mom thriving in. And in regards to design, instead of older single-family homes in the suburbs or dated floor plans in Shady Acres, what if instead we had attractive, forward-looking design that was anchored on health and well-being, where we took the best of universal design and coupled it with where we know the future's headed. So you have simple home maintenance. It's energy efficient. No stairs to negotiate. Well, floor plan might look something like this. We know that it's the bathroom that's the biggest risk for falls and so forth. Well, here you have slip-resistant tiles, showers, not baths, blocking behind the walls for grab bars. And then in the kitchen, we have better lighting, ergonomic hardware, roll-out shelving. And in the main living space, we have smart TVs, we have smart thermostats, we have wireless streaming music, all linked to Wi-Fi-enabled broadband controlled through your tablets and your phones. You're creating a smart home. And that's so important because what's really happening is in time, the technology is going to help us stay healthy and connected. And our health systems, what they're going to want in the process is they're going to want to have us be able to have our doctors available through these tablets. We'll have advances in what our personal information is about that helps us and those who care about us. And so my mom, she would benefit, clearly. She would love to be in a place that keeps her healthy, but also keeps her connected with technology. It'll help her stay connected with her grandkids today and over time her great-grandkids. Because ultimately, I see housing as not just a place to hang your hat, not just a place to go when you're sick, but a place that keeps you well. It makes a lot of sense. So much sense, in fact, that's happening today. Along with Federal Realty Investment Trust, we've created the Stories at Congressional Plaza in Rockville, Maryland. It's here in the DC market. It opens in the spring. See, here with our location, you can walk to a grocery store, Fresh Market, CVS for the pharmacy, Metro for public transportation and different restaurants. And our operating model, we've created a small team that has that critical human touch that builds true community and coordinates services. It makes life work on your terms. And with design, we take all the in-unit features I shared before, but on top of that, we have areas for interaction. We have conference rooms that are hooked up for telemedicine, and we've created a state-of-the-art fitness center. But beyond that, Well, and I'll give you a picture here. You can see this looks like a contemporary apartment building. You're not going to confuse this with Shady Acres. And with some design touches, it just looks like home. And I'd be remiss if I didn't share with you the fact that this is half the cost of Shady Acres. Our rent is literally half the rent of the independent living facility down the road. And it makes more fiscal sense than most people living in their homes. Why isn't there something like this in every Main Street USA? I believe we're at an inflection point. 90% of people say they'd like to live in their homes as they age, but there's no denying the hazards of isolation. Scientists tell us that isolation is more hazardous to your health than smoking. But the penetration rate, the number of people that are choosing Shady Acres, is around 10%, and that's been flat or declining the last 10 years. People simply don't want to live only with old people. We need new visions. We need new options. We need ones that are affordable, attractive, and take advantage of all the innovations in our broader society. And is also integrated into the world that we have around us. But we're going to need all of us to make that reality happen. It means if you're an investor or lender, you need to embrace and understand these new models. If you're a developer, you need to understand the prospect and the value of having next generation development for grown-ups. If you're cities or municipalities, we need to make your environments more age-friendly. Not everyone's a snowbird. We need to make it easier for people to age in community. If you're in public policy, we need to understand that housing is a key, maybe the key dimension of healthy living. We need to create new options at new price points that make it more affordable to more people. And if you're a consumer, take a lead from my mom and be vocal about what you want and what you don't want. Because together, we can avoid isolation, focus on connection as we take full advantage of the next era of longevity. And in the process, I think we can build environments that Betty Cobb would have loved to live in, that my mom would love to live in, and even my wife and I can imagine living in. Thank you.